Podcasts have existed more than 20 years, but now podcasts are entering into its golden era. Today, influencers, celebrities, entrepreneurs, politicians, and investors, and all other stars are jumping into making their own show. A $250 million deal for the raw, muscular guy on Spotify. I'm talking about Joe Rogan. He's the man who convinced Donald Trump to skip the popular TV networks and sit down for 3 hours conversations during the elections periods. That single episode broke record and became a key factor in Trump's victory. If you think this is only about money, it doesn't make sense. For people who are already rich and famous to spend hours start making their podcasts and talking into a mic. On the other hand, for people like us, the audience, listening at the gym, in the kitchen, or during a commute, what do we actually gain? Hey yo, welcome to the Sailing Founder Lab. I'm Eric Howe. This channel brings you modern tech, startup, trend, and economics with a focus on what you need to know in Southeast Asia. So, why can some people earn millions just by speaking into a mic, even influencing elections or saving a company image? Today, we are breaking down the economic of podcasts, how they actually earn money from that, why podcasts are getting so popular, and what are the impact and benefit for both creator and the audience. The most basic way to earn is through CPM, the cost per mile, which is the ad cost per 1,000 view. In the United States, they have higher CPM range from $25 to $50, and in Southeast Asia, the cost will be between $15 to $40. Second is the subscriptions model. Some creators will create premium content, like one of the podcasts I like to listen to is Huberman Lab. Andrew Huberman create premium content for those who want to access extra deep dive into content about science and health. As the famous entrepreneur and investor Naval Ravikant say, content is a form of leverage, and this episode become asset for the creator. Honestly, I guess I'm building my own asset right now, even there are no views. So, back to Joe Rogan started his first episode of his podcast on 24th December 2009 in his garage. There are no script, no sponsor, just him and a few friends talking about MMA, alien, and whatever topic they like, just like friends having conversations. He worked at it more than 15 years, and now he pulled over 10 million views first episode. The views are crazy. That is higher than almost any TV shows during prime times. Imagine how much he can earn just from the platform for him for every single episode. And think about it, Spotify, 250 million deal was not just for his future content. They bought his library of over 2,700 episodes he had created. And not to mention, the first deal was only 100 million in 2020. But 4 years later, the latest deal increased to 250 million and allowed him to upload the content onto YouTube, Apple Podcasts, and other platforms. And not every genre of content have large base of audience and can be monetized like what those successful podcasters did, right? But why is this market still growing in even the place where CPM is lower or people prefer the short form video like Reels and TikTok? Some more, most of the podcasts don't really showcase the product the creator are advertising for. But why? Still so many people starting their podcasts and the market is growing. Other than money, now let us talk about the supply side. Why there are more podcasts created now? The first golden nugget of the podcast is exactly because of it is a long form. The traditional TV limit you, no matter how famous you are, whether you are a genius or a star. If a show is 30 minutes, you only get 20 minutes after advertisement. This causes the interviewee can't fully deliver what they want to let you know sometimes. And also, The producer cut their words to only show you the most valuable parts of the show to grab your attentions. And unlike podcasts, they provide a platform for both the interviewer to know some topic and a person better, and interviewee to able to deliver what they want you to know. And back to Joe Rogan's, the 3 hours with Donald Trump gave Trump a space to be raw, for the audience to have a view that was without much editing, to know about the policy, how Trump react to controversy, the future plan that he has in mind, and also feel closer to his personality. And this is what a traditional TV show and a short form video can't really do as good as podcast show. The similar scenario happened in Asia too. Take Lei Jin, the founder of Xiaomi. He just used one episode of podcast to let the audience know why he wants to build a car, what was the story behind, and how the team is gonna do it to successfully launch the Xiaomi Suqi. He just did not release a dry corporate statement, he told a story. And this flipped the public narrative from mockery to respect about why a mobile phone company wanted to build a car. And back in my country, Malaysia, there is a politician who lost his seat in the previous elections and stopped his politic activity after some internal party conflict. He then started his podcast providing insight on current affair, policy, and party politics. This helped him to gain popularity and keep their image alive for the next game. So, did you realize that this is not just a platform to deliver a message, but a low-cost PR and opportunity to build up the personal image? You don't need to spend large amount of money to do advertising. And this is also what a short-form video can't really do. And can't deny that the short-form video is a great for reach, but it's just a good form to convey your character and who you are and what you are trying to show to others people. And you only have 3 seconds to grab the attentions, and this make the video must have a very good hook and eye-catchy moment. So the creator can't deliver a deep message in the short form video. And a long form podcast can let the audience to really hurt someone's thoughts and how they actually handle the questions. Hence, it become a double-edged sword, which can magnify the advantage for someone. But if you can't handle it well, people will see it. So the key here is the authenticity. With all of this, the guests can get the exposure they want and also an opportunity to deliver the message or even flip over the situations. Meanwhile, the host gain more view and have more opportunity to get brand or collaborations or sponsor. And this is one of the way they can earn the money too. And what is even better, the longer a creator stay in the long form video or podcast area, this creates a sense of companionship for audience with the host. People tend to feel they know someone well when the person show the true face of themselves and talk genuinely. Listener feel like they know the host. It's like a long distance relationship friendship. While short form video is hard to do this because you need to catch the attentions in a very short time, and statistics show that 44% weekly podcast listeners have purchased a product or service as a result of hearing an advertisement on a podcast, and this is extremely high as compared to a short form video. Why? Because they trust the host. And I know what is AG1 is because of podcasts I listen to, and I never even see the product in my country. Not only that, I think the most valuable part of podcast is the relationship asset that a creator can gain. A lot of podcast creators expand their network over time by interviewing the successful persons and by introducing themselves to the successful network in a certain industry or various industries. And through the longer time of interviewing, this creates a much stronger bond than a quick networking sessions only. One of the podcasts I like to listen to is 20VC by Harry Staving. He started at 18 years old in his bedroom by interviewing successful founder and investor. He built a network that allowed him to launch a venture capital firm managing over 400 millions by his mid-20s. And this shows that your network is your real net worth. The last masterpiece of podcast economy for creator is that it becomes a channel for the creator, the professional, successful person to define the narrative. Since when people started talking about terms like first principle, second order thinking, the flywheel effect, all of this because of those successful people started mentioning it and it gets planted into our mind. I remember at one time, my previous manager once scolded our team, saying, "You guys must have first principle of thinking." And I'm pretty sure at that time, if it is 10 years ago, no one gonna say that. And this show, a public channel can influence how the public think. And a podcast, as a long-form show, increase the chance that the message can actually be delivered well and influence us. And now, I have talked about the benefit for the supply side. Let us look at the demand side. Why are podcasts getting more popular? And most of us, as an audience, what can we actually gain? First, why are there more people listening to podcasts? Simply because of two things. One is the accessibility, and another one is the lifestyle change. The first one is easy to understand. Because of the development of technology, we all have phones, and most of us, the podcasts are free. And not only that, you can even listen to it with your personal computer or even connect the Bluetooth in your car. So for the change in lifestyle, did you realize since when you are no longer able to pay attention for a long form video? Or you must speed up a video where you can watch this with a normal speed 5 to 10 years ago. All of this changed due to too much content out there and the rise of short form video, making the audience have a very short lifespan of attention to certain things. Because who doesn't like the dopamine effect, right? And also, social media is no longer a place for pure entertainment purpose only, where people start looking for knowledge, news, and stories. So, podcasts fulfill what is actually the demand of the current consumer, where you can listen to it while multitasking, and you feel like you are connecting with someone and learning something, while doing your main task at the same time. But be careful. In a world of infinite content, how much did you actually retain? 50%, 25%, or even less than 10%? In today's world, attention has become a limited resource, and all the suppliers are actually doing everything they can to gain more time from your attention, and defining the terms and changing the perspective of you towards certain people or the topic. Advertisers are not just buying your ears, they are buying the deep trust of you have built with the host over hundreds of hours. And we, as the audience, we are the actual products that provide high quality data for the advertisers. I do not want to comment on what is right or wrong here, but the companionships, the knowledge, the explorations, and the joy from the podcaster are real. I remember my first podcast was back in the year 2022 when I started working, when I felt my commute was a waste of time. I picked up the startup podcast and it changed me. And now, many years have passed, and I still remain the same, not financially rich. In fact, I'm a bit of my low point in my journey now. But the knowledge and the habit remain, and all of this shaped me into more knowledgeable than the person I was before. I hope the best for everyone who watching this, and let's get better together as a community. Please like, subscribe, and remember the quote from Naval Ravikant. Desire is a contract you make with yourself to be unhappy until you get what you want. And goodbye everyone. See you in the next one.